this incredible footage going viral on social media. And, obviously we know now the lengths that the pharmaceutical companies were working with the federal government. Do you want to address some of this? I mean, the cooperation on the advertisement, the pushing of social media narratives. We saw it in the Twitter files, right? So there was a lot of money being spent cooperatively to push a narrative to go out and get vaccines, like these vaccine drives, right?
Well, we know that social media companies gave the government millions of dollars of free advertising in order to promote the vaccine. We know that the government was working actively with those social media companies at the same time to suppress any vaccine hesitancy, or as we covered yesterday, just simple questions about the vaccine. And we also now know that some of the patents were owned by government agencies, and that those government agencies now will get kickbacks from the sale of the vaccine. So it's clear that promoting the vaccine was very heavily connected to profit.
Absolutely. And so we saw, of course, big drives to go out and vaccine push, signs everywhere and community buses and things, centers set up all over the place so you can go and get a vaccine. Well, there's some incredible footage of Dr. Fauci going viral on social media because it's part of a PBS documentary on Fauci. It's like a propaganda piece put out by the deep state. PBS, of course, as we've highlighted here on the show, is literally an extension of the federal government. It's funded by taxpayers in large part, but it is a propaganda arm, just like the Associated Press is of the federal government, as our piece with Dan Cohen points out. So this incredible footage of Fauci explaining, along with Mayor Muriel Bowser of Washington, D.C., they're going door to door, trying to get people to get the COVID vaccine. Like, we're going to come to your door, and we're literally just going to give you the vaccine. How are you doing with the vaccine? We got them right here. You ready for one? I've got a whole stash of them right here. We'll give them to you right now. In this video clip from this PBS documentary, which is going to air tonight, Biden's COVID advisors basically are arguing with DC residents about these vaccines, and weren't expecting, I don't think, some of these people in these neighborhoods to push back and saying, who followed the science here? Like, what I'm hearing, why are you having to sell me on this thing? If this is so good, then why are you out here having to push this on me? Watch this unbelievable moment now with Dr. Fauci being filleted by a DC resident who doesn't want to get the vaccine. Watch.
People in America are not settled with the information that's been given to us right now. So I'm not going to be lining up taking a shot or a vaccination for something that wasn't clear in the first place. And then you all create a shot in miraculous time. It takes years to create vaccination.
Well, it used to take years.
Okay, it used to.
You know how many years were invested in this approach? About 20 years of science to get us to be able to do it.
20 years is not enough. And 9 months is definitely not enough for nobody to be taking no vaccination that you all came up with.
The only reason I'm talking to you right now, as close as we are, is that I've been vaccinated.
Right.
But if it allows thousands of people like you don't get vaccinated, you're going to let this virus continue to percolate in this country and in this world.
Something like the common flu then, right?
And not
it's
like
much more serious than the flu.
Well, the flu kills a lot of people annually, too.
You know how many people died of the flu the last year? I mean, not this year, virtually none, but the previous year, about 20 to 30,000. You know how many people have died from COVID-19 in the United States? 600,000 Americans.
Well, the number that you all giving that died, that's once again, that's you all's number.
You gonna pass?
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Because when you start talking about paying people to get vaccinated, when you start talking about incentivizing things to get people vaccinated, it's something else going on with that. Something else going on.
It is something going on.
With something else.
You're
going
right.
on.
But I'm glad millions of people like me and most everybody here didn't get an incentive. You know what their incentive was? Protecting their health and protecting the city.
Well,
but I won't keep you anymore.
It's okay, because my incentive, y'all campaign is about fear. It's about inciting fear in people. You all attack people with fear. That's what this pandemic is. It's a fear. It's fear, this pandemic. That's all it is.
Can I just say that the only reason this video made the light of day is because they think they owned that guy?
Yeah, and I think that they were playing into the stereotype of that black people were vaccine hesitant. I mean, I haven't seen but that was very much a conversation that happened online.
Oh yeah, I remember covering that part of it, and I love. He says something else is going on here. The fact that you're having to pay people to go. We're going to give you money. We're going to give you money, a check in this community if you get this vaccine. Something else is going on here. And she's like, yeah, something else is going on here, but. So she admits something else is going on here. Maybe not in the way that she intended. Another piece of video that's come out of this is amazing. I added some subtitles here because it's a little quiet. So forgive me, but it's Dr. Fauci again talking about the concern basically of Republican states, red states. He might as well just say it, that don't want to get vaccinated. And we've got to really figure out a way to push them on this. We need to break that. Watch this.
Other states.
Oh my God. They're going to keep the outbreak smoldering in the country. It's so crazy. I mean, they're not doing it because they say they don't want to do it. They're Republicans. They don't like to be told what to do. Right. And we got to break that, unpack that.
How you guys doing with vaccine?
Unbelievable. Just disgusting. It really... Yeah, and I think it's interesting because this happened. I don't know how old this video actually is. I think it's about 2 years old now at this point, or a year and a half, 2 years old. That the fact that he had that awareness, right, to be able to stand up there and say that to her and to Dr. Fauci on your front doorstep.
But it almost doesn't matter because Pfizer has admitted that they never had information that showed that the vaccine prevents contraction, that the vaccine prevents the spread, which means that he never had data to say that. Right. So if he's saying they're going to keep the pandemic smoldering, he's indicating it's because they won't be able to stop the spread because they're refusing the vaccine. He never had any data to say that. We know this now.
I'm sorry, I was conflating the two sound. I meant the other guy on the doorsteps shouting them down. He didn't have that. He 2 years ago had.
No, I'm talking about Fauci. He did not have the data to suggest that refusing vaccination would keep the pandemic smoldering.
Right. Yeah.
He never had that data. And so.
And by the way, which states ended up doing the best?
Right.
Think about it. Right. And I also love the backdrop of these guys there that are walking with them, like the security people and all that sort of walking with them, and the poll workers or whatever. The one guy has on 2 masks, and Fauci has no mask on. Like, where's the science in that then? Right? Because you were telling us at the beginning, no masks, and then you're telling us, yeah, absolutely mask. Anytime you're out in a group of people, you want to wear masks. So why is he okay to not be wearing masks?
Well, because, I can sort of pinpoint this timing of this is mid-2021. This is my estimation. But around that time, the narrative was you don't have to wear a mask if you've been vaccinated. Even Disney had that policy. Right. Come on into the park and only unvaccinated people should wear masks. We now know there was no science around that, around masking as it relates to vaccination. But I think that what they're trying to point at this time, and we are going to forget that these were the talking points and what we've been through. But at the time, this was the propaganda that I can only be unmasked because I'm vaccinated and you can't because you are not.
I mean, I hope we don't forget this stuff. I mean, this is so important that we don't ever repeat this stuff again, is for us to catalog it and point this stuff out and remind people of it. It's like, frankly, it's like what happened in World War II. So, you never stop talking about what happened at Auschwitz because, the moment you stop talking about it, you start sweeping it under the rug, then you get deniers that it ever happened, right? Yeah. And that's awful. Go ahead, David.
Well, I was just going to say, and you know damn well that they did a lot of research, then went to houses that they figured were all going to be, Democrat and, very willing
it's
to
Washington, D.C. Everyone is a Democrat, right?
Well,
they were not expecting that guy to walk out of that house.
Yeah.
Well, in fact, just today, the Epoch Times did a piece about how the CDC bought phone data to monitor Americans' compliance with lockdowns. We have reported on that as it related to the election, how certain politicians used this. But they knew all along, based on phone records of who was complying with lockdown, who was vaccinated, and they knew who to target based on geolocation of your technology.
Thank you so much for watching this segment here at Redacted. We are live every day at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, trying to share the stories that the mainstream media will not cover. You should also come over and join our community of Redacted Rebels over at redacted.inc. That's our private locals community where we can share exclusive content that we simply cannot share here on YouTube. Come over and join the rebellion together right now by going to redacted.inc. We'll see you next time.